So now we'll be having Science 1 lecture instead of history. Let me start sharing my screen. Good morning once again all. Myself, Pathan Arifa Khatun, Asim Ahmed. I'm from Worli CFS English Municipal Secondary School. And today we are here for Science and Technology Part 1. And we are again today here for revising the lesson acid, bases and salts. Earlier also we have gone through this chapter, and once again we will have a look on this chapter. This is our chapter number 5 from 9th standard. 9th standard. So the name of the lesson is acids, bases and salts. Now you might be knowing, and the screen which I'm showing here, it contains some fruits, and all of us like fruits, yes. And also we know the taste of different fruits, isn't it? Likewise, we can tell ki each and everything, whatever we eat, it they all does have a particular taste. Now, after seeing the screen, uh, you might be knowing what taste does each fruit have. So some food items such as lime, orange, and curd have sour taste. है ना? Oranges we like, lime not everyone, but there are few people those who like lime also, and curd also. We often have curd, but that is sweet curd when we go for any event or for any exam, like according to our culture, Indian culture, all they have a taste. For example, if you'll take that example of curd, it has a sour taste. Orange is also sour. Most of the time it is sour only. Sour means उसमें खट्टापन होता है. Contains edible salt. Yes, we know कि we get salt from seawater, and how it is obtained. You might have learned somewhere else, or if you know, it is well good. If we how the salt is prepared and how it is collected from seawater. This is the table, though it is excluded from our syllabus this year, but I have included this just for your knowledge. Okay, the topic which we are going to directly start is now acids, bases. These two things we are going to see. Now you can see in this table, there are different compound. Only the name of first compound is given there, hydrochloric acid. Also its molecular formula and the basic radical in it, as well as the acidic radical and the type of the compound. But here we should know what are the molecules of compound made up of. The second one is nitric acid, Its basic radical is again H plus and acidic radical NO3 minus. Again, it is an acid. Third one is also an acid, HBr, H plus ion basic radical. It is hydrogen bromide, and Br, that is bromine, it is a acidic radical. So likewise, there are many compounds given over there. We have to segregate their basic radical as well as the acidic radical, and we have to name that compound. So here we can see in this table, okay, some compounds are seen to have H plus as the basic radical. Yes, no? H plus. क्या है उसका basic radical है in their molecule, total molecule like HCl. These are all acids. So the compounds which have H plus ion as their basic radical, it is said to be as acids. Some compounds are seen to have OH minus as the acidic radical in their molecule. All these compounds are bases. Acidic radical OH, then it is bases. Acidic radical Cl minus, then it is a acid. These ionic compounds which have a basic radical other than H plus and an acidic radical other than OH are called salt. Like this calcium chloride in it is a salt. Last one, ammonium sulfate, it is also a salt. So what are salts? Those have basic radical other than H plus and acidic radical other than OH. These are salts. Okay. Now I hope every one of you all are having your textbooks with you all. So textbook page number 59, I'm going through, and this topic you might find there, ionic compounds. It is a recapitulation. Recapitulation is, recap. We are revising it again. So page number 59, ionic compounds. So let us have a recapitulation for that. This figure you can see over there. Yes, it is scanned from your textbook only. The molecule of an ionic compound has two constituents, namely cation, positive ions, basic radical, and anion, negative ion, acidic radical. Any ionic compound. See, last one, it is showing the formation of the ionic compound NaCl. Na, it has positive cation, Cl, it has negative anion. So the compound, it is made from two different constituents, namely cation and anion. Cation are positively charged, anion are negatively charged. There is a force of attraction between these ions as they are oppositely charged. Yes, Na is plus, Cl is minus. So there is a force of attraction between them, and that is called the ionic bond. That is called as the ionic bond. The force of attraction between one positive charge and one negative charge of an ion make one ionic bond. Simple. Now, while studying static electricity, we have learned that there is natural tendency of any body to change from an electrically charged state into an electrically neutral state. Static electricity. This topic you have learned in 7th and 8th standard. Static electricity. So what is the tendency of the body of any body? That it change the electrically charged state into it get transformed from electrically charged state to a neutral state. Why then is an electrically charged ion formed from an electrically balanced, that is neutral atom? What is the reason? The explanation lies in the electronic configuration. If you'll see the electronic configuration of sodium, it is 281. If you'll see the electronic configuration of chlorine, it is 287. It is 287. Let us see once again how the sodium and chlorine atoms form the Na plus and Cl minus, and as a result, how the sodium chloride or NaCl salt is formed. See the figure how this takes place? The outermost shell, we will have a different screen. The outermost shell, look at the outermost shell of sodium, the top one. The outermost shell of sodium and chlorine atoms is not a complete octet. It is not a complete octet. The sodium atom, it consists of one electron in the outermost orbit. Yes, it contains only one electron in the outermost orbit, whereas chlorine, it contains 7 electrons in the outermost orbit. Both are incomplete octet. Both are incomplete. Octet हम कब बोलेंगे? When it have 8 electrons in the outermost shell. And then it will be known as complete octet. Both are incomplete here. However, outermost shell in both the Na plus and Cl ions is a complete octet, but later on. An electronic configuration with a complete octet indicate a stable state. An electronic configuration with a complete octet. When there are 8 electrons in the outermost shell, then it is said to be as complete octet. And it also indicates a stable state. Further on, ionic bond is formed between the positively charged Na plus and Cl minus ion, and therefore an ionic compound. Therefore, an ionic compound, NaCl, having very high stability is formed. Now here we can see in the earlier uh, screen, what we have seen, okay, one electron was moving to chlorine, and chlorine was having 7 electrons in the outermost shell. When that one electron was transferred or accepted, donated by sodium and accepted by chlorine, then it becomes 8. Here you can see the blue one, it has joined the red dot. So the in chlorine, red denotes for electron, and for sodium, blue denotes for electron. Now that single electron which was revolving singly in that outermost shell, it has jumped to chlorine. And now we can see both the octet are complete. If we'll see the second shell of sodium, it has 8 electron. That means it is a complete octet. And if we'll see the last shell of chlorine, it also have 8 electrons. That means again, it is a complete octet. In this way, the oppositely charged Na plus and Cl minus ions are the form, and therefore an ionic compound. Now the compound with ions Na plus and Cl minus, together we will say it as ionic compound. Which is the new ionic compound formed over here? That is the sodium chloride. And since their octet are complete for both of the elements, since their octet is complete, therefore the compound formed from both the elements, it is also highly stable. It is highly stable. See, in this way, this transfer takes place. The single electron is being moving there, and in the second stage, the ionic bond is formed. Sodium is having again 8 electrons in the outermost shell, and chlorine is also having 8 electrons in the outermost shell. And in this way, the bond is formed, and an ionic compound of very high stability, sodium chloride, is formed. Okay, I hope you have understood what are ionic compounds and how they are formed. Okay. So the next topic now, dissociation. Actually, we'll call it as dissociation also, we can say. Dissociation of ionic compound. Just now, we are on the same slide only. Okay, ionic compound we have seen. Ionic compound means they are following, they possess a charge. They possess the charge, positive charge, which is carried by cation, and negative charge by anion. And when they club together, they form an ionic compound. And in this topic now, we will see how that ionic compound, like let us take the example of sodium chloride only, how it gets disassociated. Let us see. So we are on page number 59, but this particular um, representation, it is given on your page number 60. Let us start. Uh, in the disassociation of ionic compounds, on mixing the substances as shown here, two substances have been mixed here. See the first one. The first beaker, ion breaks away from the dissolving crystal. I'm talking about this one. What is the resulting mixture formed by the following substance called? There are some questions for your knowledge purpose, but they have been excluded this year. On dissolving in water, an ionic compound forms an aqueous solution. Yes, when you add sodium chloride or salt in water, the resulting solution will be called as aqueous solution. In the solid state, now when the sodium chloride was in solid state, the oppositely charged ions in the ionic compound are sitting side by side. They are close to each other. When an ionic compound begins to dissolve in water, the water molecules push themselves in between the ions of the compound and separate them from each other. क्या होगा? जब ionic compound like sodium chloride, it will start dissolving in water. Now we know that water molecules are also present in that particular solution. We are dissolving sodium chloride in water only, no? So water molecules, what they will do? Water molecules will push themselves. They will push themselves. वो अपने आप को उस ionic compound के पास ले जाएंगे. They will take themselves to that ionic compound and separate them from each other. They will try to separate that ionic compound from each other. Now they are trying to separate the ions, like positive ions different and negative ions different. That is to say, an ionic compound dissociates while forming an aqueous solution. In short, yes. In short, हम क्या कह सकते हैं? Ionic compound dissociates while forming aqueous solution. Each of the dissociated ion in the aqueous solution is surrounded by water molecules. Yes. Now the ions have become, they have started disassociating. Now they have been spread. They are started to separate from each other in the aqueous solution. At the same time, they are surrounded with water molecules. This state is indicated by writing aqueous. This state is indicated by writing aqueous. After this slide, we'll see the equation. On the right side of the symbol of the ion, we have to indicate by writing aqueous, in short AQ. See, NaCl, earlier it was a salt, it was a solid also. We have dissolved that, or we have added that sodium chloride or that salt in water, and once it get dissolved in water, both the positive and the negative ion, they started separating, and the resulting solution will be aqueous. So that likewise, therefore we have written Na aqueous plus Cl minus aqueous. In the equation we can see, and here in the figure also you can clearly see how the Cl minus ion and how the Na plus cation, they are getting separated. the solution consists of aqueous Na plus and Cs minus. So later on, if we keep on dissolving, all the Na plus cation and Cl minus anion, they will get separated from each other. This theory, now the next, after dissociation of salt in aqueous solution, let us see the Arrhenius theory of acids and bases. The slide which you are seeing, which right now you can observe, is Arrhenius theory of acids and bases, and it is the photo or pic of Swedish scientist Arrhenius. You can see the spelling on page number 60. Let us have a short introduction about this Swedish scientist Arrhenius. So, Sir has put forth the theory of acid and bases in the year 1887. In the year 1887. And this theory gives definition of acids and bases as follows. So, in short, we can say, Sir Arrhenius, a Swedish scientist, Sir has given us the definition of acids and bases. Let us see the definition of acids then. An acid is a substance which, on dissolving in water, give rise to H plus ions as the only cations. Example, HCl, hydrogen chloride. Hydrochloric acid. An acid is a substance. What is an acid? It is a substance which, on dissolving in water, जो पानी में dissolve होने के बाद, which on dissolving in water give rise to H plus ions as the only cations. Only cations which we can get from an acid on dissolving in water is simple H plus ion. So example is hydrochloric acid. It is an acid only. And when we will dissolve hydrochloric acid in water, it will give us only H plus ions. So the definition for acid is, it is a substance which on dissolving in water give rise to H plus ions as the only cations. Okay, the chemical equation can be indicated like HCl, hydrochloric acid. If it is in gaseous form, and if it is disassociated in water, that means dissolved in water, the only positive ion it is giving is H plus cations, aqueous solution, and Cl minus aqueous solution. Some more examples are also there, like H2SO4, this is sulfuric acid liquid. Again, when you dissolve this in water, if you disassociated sulfuric acid in water, it will give the only cation, that is H plus ion, and the remaining HSO4 aqueous solution. Okay, now let us take some of the examples of acids. The things which contains acids are acidic solutions, or some examples of acid we can take is vinegar. You might have tasted vinegar, not every time or like, but during preparation of some of the things. So it tastes quite sour. Lemon juice, orange juice, curd, tamarind, amla, black tea, apple juice, unripe mango, grapes. These are all the examples of acids. From where do we get acids? Source of acids, same thing. From lemon, which acid we get? Citric acid. From tomato, we get oxalic acid. From grapes, we get tartaric acid. From milk, we get lactic acid. Whenever the ant bites us, we feel burning. We feel like burning. Not very harsh, but we feel. So it is actually caused by formic acid, apple, malic acid, vinegar, acetic acid. Okay, do remember it. Now, again, some examples of some other names of acid. Just now we have seen only oxalic, lactic, everyone, but what is the and where they are found, we'll see. This is for you additional knowledge. So hydrochloric acid we get very often when we suffer from acidity. When we suffer from acidity and we don't feel like eating anything, and there is a burning sensation in our chest. So at that time, in our body, the amount of hydrochloric acid is increased, and therefore we feel like acidity. So hydrochloric acid is found in stomach. Sulfuric acid, we found it in car and batteries, nitric acid in explosives, acetic acid in vinegar, carbonic acid in sodas, or in any type of, we can say that soft drinks. Then phosphoric acid flavoring common acids for making another acids, formic acid and sting, citric acid, lemons, oranges, lactic acid, milk curd, oxalic acid, spinach, and as well as your tomatoes. Then ascorbic acid, amla, citrus food, tartaric acid, tamarind, imli, grapes, unripe mangoes, etc. This you can remember, huh? Okay. So these were about acid. Now the next thing which we are going to learn is the definition of the base. What is the definition for base? A base is a substance which on dissolving in water give rise to OH minus ions as the only anions. Base is a substance which on dissolving in water give rise to OH minus ions as the only anions. Simple example is NaOH. Let me tell you again. What is a base? A base is a substance which on dissolving in water give rise to OH minus ions as the only anions. Example is NaOH. Another example, so we can give KOH. NaOH is sodium hydroxide. KOH is potassium hydroxide. Likewise, you can give the example. So this was about base. Now see here how it get this. In the earlier for acid we have seen about its dissociation. Likewise, this is the dissociation of bases also. Now NaOH is a basic solution. When it get dissolved in water, when it get dissociated with water, the resulting solution gives us Na plus aqueous cations, and but moreover we have OH minus negative anions, and there is also an aqueous solution only. Same example we can also write with calcium hydroxide. It will give us Ca2 plus aqueous cations and twice OH minus negative anions. That too will be an aqueous solution only. Example of bases. Example of bases. Detergent powder which we use for washing clothes. Baking soda which we use for our preparing cakes, bhajias, doklas and all. That is the sodium bicarbonate. Drain cleaner. Yes, there is a bleaching powder, drain cleaner which for which it is used. Antacid base, then ammonia, soaps, hand and dish bar, lime water, and the milk of magnesia. These are some of the examples of bases. Now, names of bases and found in sodium hydroxide, it is found in soaps, drain cleaner. Magnesium hydroxide, it is found in antacids. Aluminum hydroxide, it is also found in antacids and deodorants. Calcium hydroxide, lime water. Ammonium hydroxide, window cleaners. Magnesium hydroxide, milk of magnesia. Ammonium hydroxide, ammonia common base. So these were the examples of names of the bases and their source. Okay, the next topic is classification of acids and bases. I'm on page number 61. Page number 61. Now, what is the classification of acids and bases? Let us see. Now, as far as the classification is concerned, for acids, we have two types, that is strong acids and weak bases. Huh? For acids, we will have strong acids, weak bases. And for bases also, we have strong base and weak base. Let us see the definition of strong acids first. Acids and bases, just now I told you, are classified into strong and weak bases on the basis of their extent to which they dissociate in their aqueous solution. That means it depends, strong acid, weak acid, it depends on their ability to dissolve in the given liquid completely or incompletely. So likewise, they are categorized like strong acids, weak acids. This is for acids. For bases, strong bases, weak bases. Definition for strong acids is simple. On dissolving in water, strong acids dissociate almost completely, and the resulting aqueous solution soon contains mainly H plus ions and concern acidic radical. Simple to understand, huh? Just pay attention. What are strong acids? On dissolving in water, we are taking water only. Strong acid dissociate completely. It get dissolved completely. And the resulting solution, whatever that is forming here, the resulting aqueous solution, it mainly contains H plus ion as the basic radical and the remaining one as the acidic radical. This is strong acids. Examples are hydrochloric acid, hydrobromic acid, or nitric acid. HCl, HBr, HNO3. These are the examples of strong acid. That means they dissolve completely in water. They dissociate completely in water. And the resulting solution, it have mainly the basic radical as H plus ions and the acidic radical as Cl minus. Okay. Here you can see the strong acid such as hydrochloric acid dissociate completely into its ions. Here, when we take hydrogen chloride and add that hydrochloric acid, when we add hydrochloric acid to water and we'll stir it nicely. So hydrochloric acid is a strong acid, and therefore all its cations and anions, they have been separated. What's the reason? It is a strong acid. All the basic radical and the acidic radical, both of them have split it, or we can say completely disassociated. If we'll see about the weak acid, up till now we have not seen the definition of weak acid. Let me tell you the definition of weak acid. On dissolving in water, a weak acid does not dissociate completely, and the resulting aqueous solution contains H plus ions and the concerned acidic radical in small proportion, along with the large proportion of the undissociated molecule of the acid. For example, H2CO3, CH3, COOH, CF. This is the acetic acid and carbonic acid. So the figure second one, what does it shows? On dissolving in water, a weak acid does not dissociate completely. We can see clearly over there. Hardly we can find only two H plus cations over there, and or else it has been it remained as it is only. So whatever the acid which we have added in water, it does not dissociate. Very few of its H plus cations have get separated from it, and the resulting aqueous solution contains H plus ion and the concerned acidic radical in small proportion. That means we'll get only HCO3 minus. Next, weak acid. Say again definition. Weak acid, it does not dissociate completely, and the solution contain H plus ions, an acidic radical in small quantity, along with large quantity of undissociated molecules. Undissociated means as it is, H2CO3 that remains almost as it is. And very few are there, some cations and anions, those who get separated. The only reason is it is a weak acid, and weak acid it does not dissociate completely. Let us read one more time. Weak acid does not associate completely, and the solution contains H plus ions and acidic radical in small quantity along with large quantity of undissociated molecules. The example here is acetic acid, that is the CH3C double OH, acetic acid. Now the classification of bases, I told you earlier that they are the strong bases and weak bases. Strong bases and weak bases. The definition for strong bases is it is exactly like strong acids only. Only you have to change the word acid and base. Undissolving in water, strong base dissociate completely, and the resulting aqueous solution contains OH minus ions and basic radical. On dissolving in water, strong base dissolve completely, and the resulting solution contains OH minus cation, anions and basic radical. It also dissociate completely. OH are separated, and the other whatever that other thing is there, that will be get separated. Now OH we can we know okay, sodium hydroxide. If you add sodium hydroxide, that is a strong base to water, it will disassociate completely, and it will get separated from OH, and in this way both both will get separate from each other, and they will move nicely in that solution. So this is a strong base. It is dissociate completely, and the aqueous solution, it contains OH minus ions and the basic radical, that is the Na plus. Example is NaOH, sodium hydroxide, KOH, potassium hydroxide, CaOH twice. This is the calcium hydroxide. Next definition for the weak base. Same like our weak acid. It does not dissociate completely, and the resulting aqueous solution contains small quantity of OH ions and basic radicals, along with large quantity of undissociated molecules of the base. What we will add here? H2CO3 we have added, or a weak NH4OH, the ammonium hydroxide. Ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. When we will add ammonium hydroxide in the water, and the resulting aqueous solution, whatever the solution that is formed, that is an aqueous form. So it contains OH minus ions and basic radical in a small quantity, and along with large quantity of undissociated molecules of the base. Like NH4OH, it will remain as it is only, and very few will be there, OH minus ions and NH4 plus cations over there. This was the definition for weak bases. Example is given here, ammonium hydroxide. Next is the alkali. The bases which are highly soluble in water are called alkali. Just now we have seen strong bases and weak bases. But water alkalis, they are the bases only, but which are highly soluble in water. They are called as the alkalis. For example, NaOH, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, ammonia. Here, NaOH and KOH are the strong alkalis, while NH3 is a weak alkali. These are the bases only. है ना? Just now we have seen NaOH is a strong base, while as ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. But water alkalis, they are the bases only, but they are highly soluble in water. So that's why they are called as alkali. Example are sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, ammonia. Whereas sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, they are strong alkalis, whereas ammonia is a weak alkali. Next topic is the basicity and acidity of compounds. Again, still we are on page number 61 only. This table you can see in your textbook. Yes, you have to complete as well. If you're carrying your textbooks with you all, we can solve this table right now. See, the table which is in light yellow color, it contains all the acids. The table which is green in color, it all contains the bases. We have to just write down the number of H plus cation obtained from one molecule. If we'll take HCl, hydrochloric acid, how many number of H plus cations we'll get? We'll get only one. In HNO3 also we'll get one. In H2SO4 we'll get two. H2CO3 will get two. H2BO3 will get two. H3PO4 will get three only. And CH3, COOH again three. Number of OH minus ions for the bases obtained from one molecule. For NaOH, we'll get only one OH anion. KOH also will get one anion. OH twice. Here you will get two. Barium hydroxide BaOH twice. Here also you will get two. This is aluminum hydroxide. Here also you will get OH twice. That means number of OH minus ions 2. Then ferrous hydroxide OH minus 2. OH minus 3. You will get 3 here. And the last one NH4. That is the ammonium hydroxide. Here you will get only one OH negative anion. Now the basicity of acids. What is the basicity of acids and acidity of bases? We are on page number 62. Page number 62. The number of H plus ions obtainable by the dissociation of one molecule of an acid is called its basicity. The number of H plus ions obtained by dissociating one molecule of any acid, that is called as its basicity. Whatever the number of H plus ions and which are obtained by the single molecule of an acid, that such term will be known as basicity of an acid. Likewise, acidity of bases. Bases are OH and acids are H plus mainly cations. So acidity of bases says the number of OH minus ions obtained by the dissociation of one molecule of a base is called its acidity. When you'll write together both these definitions and you'll carefully observe, you'll come to know its difference, and immediately on the paper only you can learn it. Just you have to know the difference between the two, and then you can correlate it and you can remember it, revise it. There are some techniques to remember. So you can follow your own techniques also, which you can revise in your exam. So acidity of bases says the number of OH minus ions obtainable by the dissociation of one molecule of base is called its acidity. So this was on page number 62. There are some questions given over there for your brain power, using your brain power, but they are excluded for this year. So therefore, we'll stop with basicity of acids and acidity of bases. Now the concentration of acids and bases. The very last topic for this, concentration of acids and bases. This picture you can see, or figure you can see on page number 62. What has been done here? Cut a lemon into two equal parts. Cut a lemon. Take the juice in each part into two separate bakers. Take the juice of that lemon in two separate bakers. Pour 10 ml of drinking water in one beaker and 20 ml in the second. 10 ml water in one beaker, 20 ml water in another beaker. Stir the solution. Stir it nicely in both the bakers and test them. Is there any difference in the taste of the solution in the two bakers? What is that difference? Yes, there will be a difference. There will be a difference. In the first beaker we have added 10 ml of water. In the second beaker we have added 20 ml of drinking water. Though the lemon juice is the same, but still the taste is different. What is the difference then? In the above activity, the SAR test of the solution is because of the solute. In the above activity, the SAR test of the solutions, both the solutions. Why it is SAR? Because of the solute. Who is the solute here? Lemon or the lemon juice in them. The quantity of lemon juice is the same in both the solutions. Yes, yet the test is different. The solution in the first beaker is more sour than the other one. Why it is so? Simple, no. We have added more water, though the solute is the same, but water is different or the solvent is different. No. Although the quantity of solute is same in both the solution, that is the lime juice, the quantity of solvent is different. Who is the solvent here? Water is the solvent. And who were the solute? Lemon juice was the solute. And the solution which is being prepared or being uh, the solution we get after adding water, it is the solvent. Ratio of the quantity of the solute to the quantity of the resulting solution is different. Yes, the ratio is larger for the solution in the first beaker, and therefore that solution tastes more sour. On the other hand, the proportion of the lemon juice in the total solution in the second beaker is smaller and the taste is less sour. So the taste of the food depends upon the nature of the taste giving ingredients, like here the lemon juice, and the proportion also. Similarly, all the properties of a solution depend on the nature of the solute and solvent also, and also on the proportion to which it is added. The proportion of a solute in a solution is called the concentration of the solute. Here's the main definition comes over here. The proportion of a solute in a solution is called the concentration of the solute in the solution. When the concentration of a solute in the solution is high, it is concentrated solution. When the solution is a dilute solution, when the concentration of the solute is low. If the concentration of solute is high, it is a concentrated solution. If the concentration of the solute is less, then the concentration of the solution will be called as the dilute solution if the concentration of solute is less. And if the concentration of solute is more, then that solution will be called as concentrated solution. So this was for today's lecture from the chapter acid, bases and salt. We have covered many topics over here. Mainly we have started with the table with molecular formula, basic radical, acidic radical, After that, we have seen the ionic compound, its recapitulation. Then how does the ionic compound sodium chloride is formed by accepting and sharing of the electron, how the octet becomes complete, and why the salt sodium chloride is highly stable. We have known the reason. After that, we have seen the dissociation of ionic compounds, and after it, we have also seen the Arrhenius theory. We have also seen an introduction to Swedish scientist Sir Arrhenius. Then after that, we have also seen the definition of acids and bases. After definitions of acid and bases, we have also seen the categorization of acids and bases. Acids are categorized as strong acid, weak acids. Likewise, bases are also categorized as strong bases, weak bases. After that, we have also seen alkali and basicity and acidity of acids and bases. And the last topic which we have seen is concentration of acid and base. So with all these topics, we have done with today's lecture and we'll stop here. And